This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. I wanted to go ahead and show you the moonrise and the sunset. This is at the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in the United States, in front of the Prince Resort here. Where the sun and the moon appear and vanish on the horizon varies considerably through the seasons and the phases of the moon, as well as the duration of visibility between one another. I use the Tides Near Me app. It's a very effective app to let us know what the numbers actually are. So in the summer, the sun sets way over there in comparison to where it's setting tonight in December. And then for the sunrise, in the summer it comes up way over there. Today it came up way over here from this coastline here, indicating conclusively that the sun and the moon are the ones that are moving. The earth is stationary and level. That's the biblical proclamation and the observable reality. We have a firmament up above the face of the stationary and level earth. That's the biblical proclamation and the observable reality. In order for there to be a vacuum of space, we need to have a container. That is the firmament. The flood that, because we've got a pressurized atmosphere. That is the Myrtle Beach skyline there. The duration of visibility between the sun and the moon can vary up to almost 4 hours or so, depending on location, of course, and the season. This is our winter here, and in the south, for example, in Australia, it's their summer, their hot season, and unfortunately it's rather dry, and they've had a lot of wildfires there, brush fires they call them. I've got documentaries that I've featured exposing that reality and the tragedy that it is. We do have weather modification. I call it weather wars. It's also known as geoengineering. You can hashtag my name, call me anytime you like. Because of how beautiful it is here, we have upwards of 20 million guests a year here now. Whoops, sorry about that. So this is a real popular place in Cherry Grove. People love to walk out on the pier. Not much going on for fishing right now. However, the shrimp boats are out. It's a pretty busy shrimp season. In Joshua chapter 10, God stopped the sun and the moon from moving temporarily, and then he got them moving again. There is a relationship between the sun and the moon and the phases of the moon and the tidal activity. There is mystery with the creation. What I have found out is that the supposed authorities of astronomical events, the NASA and the theoretical physicists that are drawing their information from them are basically drawing information from a poisoned well, a corrupt source. It doesn't mean that everything that NASA says is a lie, just a lot of it. And that's part of the compartmentalization that happens. So that people that are aware that NASA is lying about going to the moon and Mars and the satellites and all that, many of those people that know they're lying about that don't listen to anything or much of anything they have to say except to make fun of them. Now, here's where the compartmentalization comes in. The system knows that. NASA is one of the largest purchasers of artificial intelligence, and it's using AI to gaslight and catfish humanity, giving a false reality. We have what could be termed a cybernetic collective. I like a lot of what Elon Musk does, the Tesla cars, the solar and all that, but when we get into the launching a bunch of satellites and supposedly launching a car into space that's still out there, as best I can tell, that's all fabricated. That's science fiction. Now, if I make any comments on videos from NASA, Goddard, official NASA channel, they'll mute me. So my response to that is, on my own channel, YouTube channel Truth, I will go ahead and expose the reality as best I can. The reason to hashtag my name is to see what I'm about, covering multiple social media platforms and who knows what other media events I'll be involved in. I'm on the BBC, London Guardian, HBO, Vice News, The Daily Show. I've got upwards of 40 million views of people seeing me, and PewDiePie, the most subscribed YouTube channel in the world. And where I was heard saying, do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? And a lot of people found that funny, as well as we don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello, it's just water seeking its level. And then the other thing many people heard me say is, they're lying and I ain't buying. Who's they? Well, Satan and all of those that he has deceived, basically. Some are knowing deceivers. There are fallen angels and demons that still inhabit physiology that may look like a person, and it may be, could be a clone, could be a cyborg. We're all somewhat like augmented humans. We're relying on a lot of technology, but for some it's more than that. Some may be indistinguishable from human beings. So somebody that's demonically possessed, inhabited by a demon or a fallen angel, could be disguised as an angel of light, maybe a false teacher, maybe somebody proclaiming somewhat of the gospel. However, I'm actually sharing the gospel to the ends of the earth around the clock in the form of a digital audio Bible on my YouTube channel, as well as sharing Bible.com, Bible.is, meeting people face to face out here on the beach, on the street, in the Walmart, wherever, in the local Goodwill where I was. A gentleman asked me about my channel. Had an opportunity to explain a bit about that. Now I have reached 5,000 videos on my liked videos playlist. There's each time I add a video, it's a unique playlist. Each time one of my posts on Facebook is shared, typically it's going to take the whole playlist with it. Just so you know, that's why I do that. I've been doing that for about 4 years now. When I select a video out of my liked videos playlist, the playlist starts there and carries all the videos with it. When somebody shares my photo album on Facebook, there's tens of millions of occurrences of my liked videos playlist from YouTube. Now, according to what YouTube said on December 5th in 2018, the liked videos playlist category was going to be maintained private. So when I did a premiere video, it turned my playlist of liked videos to private. I reset it to public. As far as I know, it's still out there visible to the general public. If you ever see a link of mine that is not operational, please let me know. Now, Job 37 says that the sun is in the midst of the clouds. That's what many of us have observed. I've got a video called Local Sun. It's on the Infinite Earth, Flat Earth Research, and shared through many different groups, and there's other occurrences of it. So some would say we don't have, the sun isn't, we don't have clouds 7 miles high, 20 miles high. True, we have them 20 miles away. We have them 3,000 miles away. There may be clouds 10,000 miles away. So right now they can see the sun in Southern California, right? The sun sets here tonight at 5:22 Eastern Standard Time. Now in Charleston, there's going to be a different time when the sun vanishes from that vantage point. And I used to live in California and see the sun set there as well. Now the lighting on the moon is going to change considerably when the sun leaves this vantage point. And on Friday, we're scheduled to have a 100%, a full moon. It's less than that right now. So on the Tides Near Me app, you can look at the numbers if you care to. The truth is hidden in plain sight. Basically, reality exposes the deception in whatever category it is. The truth about toxic vaccines, toxic information, the truth about all that exposes the deception. So the weather wars, the geoengineering is basically creating droughts in some areas, floods and hurricanes in others. The artificial intelligence doesn't need a kill call for either autonomous weapons or an interruption of the power supply, the power grid. AI has administrative access to the entire internet, including the creation and distribution of electricity. Imagine New York City without electricity for a month, or a year, or a day. It'd get pretty weird after a month. A lot of people would die. There'd be a lot of carnage. Now, if the electrical grid, if we were to get, if they were to say that we had an EMP and the grid was down in the United States, there would be a logistical interruption of goods and services all over. People would freeze to death. Some may starve to death, depending on how long the outage went. And what can we do about that? Well, make sure your house is in order. 7 people per second no longer have the human experience. Their body is going to stop working. The sun appears to, I should say the sun vanishes from this location based on perspective. You can look at the laws of perspective. It's just the way it works. The Earth is not spinning 1,038 miles an hour at the equator. The Earth is not rotating backwards to make it look like the sun, to make the sun vanish from this vantage point. The movement of the Earth has never been proven, nor can it be, because the Earth is stationary. I've got time-lapse footage of the beauty and majesty of creation from all over the world, from Iceland, Norway, Antarctica, the North Pole, all over the world. You can check it out if you care to. And I share videos from talented cinematographers from all over the world. That's just what I do. And you can too. If you share one of my videos, the whole thing goes with it. It doesn't have to be a video that I've created. It can be one of the videos on my liked videos playlist. Notice how the sun is lighting up the clouds and the jet trails or chemtrails. Notice how it's a small spot on the horizon. Now, if the sun were 93 million miles away and 1.5 million Earth sizes, that would look radically different. For many of my friends, you're aware of that. This is for anybody who wants to know, and even for my friends who want to share it with somebody else. I'm not in this for the money because it's not financially profitable for me. I spend way more money to do this than I get back. I've invested about $20,000 to get less than $20. So it's not a financial profit thing. I do it because I want people to make an informed choice on the reality of their eternity. Where will you spend eternity and why? When you can't fog a mirror, register a pulse, where will you be? Now, I used to be an atheist, just so you know that. Many of you do. I thought I was born again in 1982 until I actually was in 2014. I had a lot of struggles I was supposed to be free from if I was truly born again. The disturbing and relieving answer to that question, why was I struggling so much? I was a dead man walking and didn't know it. How about that? It's good to know. See that little speck there? That little white bright spot? That's one of the indicators. The other one is we don't have upside down people in relationship to one another walking on the beach. Let's do that. Let's show you how ridiculous that looks. I call them beams, the upside down world. That's not real. That's not possible. The upside down world happens in the imagination only. Water is a natural level, covers the face of the stationary Earth, and does not stick to a spinning ball. See people out here tossing the tennis ball for their dogs. The water flies off. The same water. There is absolutely no curvature on the horizon. It's horizontal. See that? No matter how high you go. So now you can see how much better we'll be able to see the moon, because the sun is not making the atmosphere around it is light. That's just the way it actually works. So earlier this week I showed a smaller percentage of moon, where we can see on the back side of it there was just not moon there. It wasn't that there was a shadow. See, because the sun and the moon and stars move above the stationary Earth, there's no way that the Earth can cast a shadow on the, that the Earth can cast a shadow on the moon. It's not possible. It's not reality. By irony and paradox, we don't know what we don't know. I include myself in that. Is what I believe true? As best I can tell, it is. By definition, our beliefs we believe to be true. We believe to be reality. So by irony and paradox, none of us know what we don't know. Do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? Depends on temperature. That drives the water cycle of the world. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation in all its forms. If it gets cold enough, it'll expand the molecules and then it'll float on top of the water. I've driven cars, I've driven the Truthmobile on Lake Winnebago. How about that? So I encourage everybody to seek the truth with all your heart. You don't have to convince me how right you are on everything you believe. In this truth movement, there's one truth about the reality, and then there's everybody has their perspective on it and what they believe it to be. So there's not my truth, your truth, and everybody else's truth. It's our perception of what we believe the truth to be. In other words, you can, if you don't want to believe in God, that doesn't mean you're not going to be paying the price for rejecting that reality. We have archaeological evidence of the existence of Noah's Ark. It's in the mountains of Ararat. Ron Wyatt discovered that. The Red Sea crossing, the chariots in the Red Sea, you can see it, as well as the archaeological evidence of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's on my channel. Now, artificial intelligence is so sophisticated that it will present the search result it wants for each individual that's looking. Does the truth about what you want to know matter? I would hope so. So when you ask a question, do you want to know the truth, or do you want to hear what you want to believe? Or do you just want to hear what you want to hear? I wanted to know the truth. That's why I did this. That's why I do this now. So the tide will be coming in for about another 45 minutes or so. A little bit of elevation will stop the water from coming in and up. Where I live is very close to only about 10 feet above sea level. But it's far enough in that the water would have a hard time making it there unless there was a massive tsunami. We get tsunami warnings here, by the way. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. I used to be afraid to do all of that. You can call me anytime. I get calls from all over the world at any given time of the day or night. That is zoomed in 125 times now. No rover, no flag. The computer graphic fakery is obvious to me. If somebody shows me the blue marble on their cell phone, it's, yeah, science fiction. If I say that on a channel where they're promoting all those lies, I'm not going to be able to have my comments seen by many. They'll just mute me out. Planes, airplanes, simply overcoming the differences in density and mass with aerodynamics. Ships floating on water with aerodynamics. I should say hydrodynamics, fluid dynamics. We don't have upside down ships on the bottom of a spinning water ball hurling through space. That's ridiculous. So there you go. This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. Thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. God's word says in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion.